They are predicting global famine. Who is they? Well, we're going to talk about who those people are. Several different people that are predicting some very shocking things to come to not just the United States, but also the rest of the world. And some even going so far as predicting a global famine. Hey, everybody, my name is JJ. You're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust. Now, as a financial economic channel, we have to talk about food. Food is a big part of people's budgets, but it's more than that. It's more than just a household expense, something on your spreadsheet. It's survival. And when you see food become more and more expensive, many families are having to decide now between paying the electricity bill and buying enough food to last as long as it's going to be needed. And people are running out of food. More food banks are seeing now bigger demand and are starting to ration food in some parts of the United States. So it's already happening here in the US. This is just the beginning. We think things are going to get a lot worse because really nobody that's in a leadership position, they're not talking about any solutions. They're talking about printing more money, giving out more loans, giving out assistance to help people afford stuff, but it's not going to grow more food. You see, sending out stimulus checks doesn't grow food. It gives people the ability to buy food, but what does that do? That makes prices rise even faster because now you have people that are not working, not producing anything, with the ability to go out and make purchases and driving up demand even further, thus driving up prices even further. So no leadership person in a position of leadership is talking about any solutions. In fact, everything that they're putting out there as a solution is making things work. Look at the rent moratorium. Did that make rent more affordable? No, it helped people a few months pay the rent. And some of the rental assistance programs that help people pay the rent. The moratoriums, they allowed people to skip rent for a while. Did it help rent become more affordable? Did it help these people in the end? No, because rents are now even higher than they were at the beginning of the assistance. So now they have to talk about more assistance. And you see where this goes. It just escalates, it snowballs, and the amount of assistance that has to be handed out just gets worse and worse and worse because they're never getting to the source of the problem. Well, let's talk about some of these predictions on this famine and this food crisis. Now, over at the Economic Collapse, they gave us a nice breakdown of a lot of these recent calls and warnings. Here's number one. One of France's most important government officials is telling us that we should brace ourselves for an extremely serious global food crisis. France's Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said the EU must get grips with the prospect that the war in Ukraine could prompt an extremely serious global food crisis. The president of the US recently admitted that food shortages are, quote, going to be real, unquote. And his administration is now openly using the word famine to describe what is coming. The Biden administration is worried Russia's invasion of Ukraine will cause famine in parts of the world. White House Council of Economic Advisors Chair Cecilia Rouse told CNBC in a recent interview. It's reported out of Germany that food in supermarkets will soon go up between 20 and 50%, just days after Germany reported the highest inflation in a generation, giving locals a distinctly unpleasant deja vu feeling even before the Russian invasion of Ukraine broke. What few supply chains remained and sent prices even higher into the stratosphere. On Monday, Germany will take one step toward a return of the dreaded Weimar hyperinflation when, according to German Retail Association, consumers should prepare for another wave of price hikes for everyday goods and groceries, with Reuters reporting that prices at German retail chains will explode between 20 and 50%. Number four, rationing has already begun in Spain. We talked about this a couple reports ago. In Spain, the country started experiencing sporadic shortages of different items like eggs, milk, and other dairy products, almost immediately following the outbreak of the war in Ukraine. In early March, major supermarkets like Mercadona and Macro began rationing sunflower oil and other items. Rationing has already started in Greece. In Greece, At least 4 national supermarket chains have started rationing food products like flour and sunflower oil due to critically low supplies caused by the crippled supply chains coming out of the conflict in Europe. Also, the head of BlackRock is warning that this will be the very first time in this generation is going to go into a store and not be able to get what they want. On Tuesday, BlackRock President Rob Capito told an audience in Austin, Texas, hosted by the Texas Independent Producers and Royalty Owners Association, that an entire younger generation is quickly finding out what it means to suffer from shortages. According to Bloomberg, quote, for the first time, this generation is going to go into a store and not be able to get what they want. He said, and we have a very entitled generation that has never had to sacrifice, unquote. And what he says there is true. When people have been given so many handouts, so many assistance payout programs, everything handed to people, when they have to go without something, it's going to be very, very difficult. And that goes right along with what I've been saying here. The United States is likely going to be one of the most dangerous countries in the world as this whole situation continues to get worse. Also, since this time last year, some fertilizer prices have gone up as much as 300%. And Russia is one of the biggest global exporters of fertilizer. In a typical year, Russia and Ukraine collectively account for approximately 30% of all global wheat exports. Just a few days ago, it was announced that another 5 million egg-laying chickens in Iowa would have to be put down because of the bird flu. On Friday, it was announced that another 5 million egg-laying chickens in Iowa would have to be put down because of the bird flu. The death toll from the bird flu in Iowa alone will now be pushed beyond 13 million because of this latest illness. Over in China, the agricultural minister has announced that the winter wheat harvest in China looks like it's the worst in history. Also, we're being warned that the recent winter harvest in the United States will be disastrous due to a severe drought. And during a recent interview, one prominent U.S. farmer stated that most Americans won't like it when your grocery bill is up $1,000 per month, and that's an exact quote. The UN is out there saying that we've never seen anything like this since World War II. Quote, Ukraine has only compounded a catastrophe on top of a catastrophe, said David Beasley, executive director of the World Food Program, the United Nations agency that feeds 125 million people a day. There's no precedent even close to this since World War II. So bulls and bears, people out there listening, continue to prepare. I'm not telling anyone how to spend their money. Go out to amusement parks, go to the movies, go to hotels, do what you want to. I'm not telling anybody what to spend their money on because I know some people get upset when I do that. But you might want to think about if you're not able to afford a food one day, if you have to choose between keeping your electricity on and eating dinner, will you be regretting the way you're spending the money currently? Just something to think about. Keep stacking, folks. I just don't want to see anyone getting hurt, especially here, people in my audience. Let me know what you think about all this down below, all these predictions of global famine. Or is there going to be a turnaround? Are solutions going to be put out there? We're going to see millions of new farms crop up here in the United States, and food's just going to be crashing in price because there's going to be so much food that's going to be grown. Now, please let me know if that's going to happen, or if you believe some of these warnings coming out of several different people across the globe. Again, please let me know down in the comments. Big love, people. Stay prepared. Peace.